Both in fighting and in everyday life, you should be determined, though calm. Meet the situation without tenseness, yet not recklessly. Your spirit settled, yet unbiased. Think about the last time you lost control. Maybe it was a heated argument with a spouse where you said something you couldn't take back. Maybe it was a moment of paralyzing anxiety before a crucial presentation that caused you to stumble. Or perhaps it was a sudden flash of road rage that left you shaking, heart pounding, long after the other car had driven away. Can you feel that heat rising in your chest right now just remembering it? That specific moment where the red mist descends and your logic shuts off is where battles are lost. It is where relationships are fractured, careers are stalled, and respect is eroded. The tragedy is not that you felt anger or fear. These are natural human experiences. The tragedy is that in those critical seconds, you handed the remote control of your life over to a temporary impulse. You became a passenger in your own body, watching helplessly as your emotions drove you off a cliff. Most people believe that winning a situation means dominating the other person, having the last word, or forcing a specific outcome. But this is a lie. Real victory isn't about controlling the world around you, it is about mastering the storm within you. If you can remain still while everyone else is spinning out of control, you automatically hold the power. You become the eye of the hurricane. In this video, we are going to dismantle the psychological triggers that make you reactive. We will hand you a timeless strategy to override your biological programming, and we will walk through the incredible disciplined philosophy of a warrior who faced death 60 times and never once let fear or anger dictate his blade. You will learn not just to survive high-pressure situations, but to thrive in them. If you are ready to stop reacting and start commanding your destiny, welcome to Timeless Wisdom Official. Please take a quick moment to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join our community of seekers building a life of strength and purpose.
The diagnosis. Why is this so difficult? Why, despite our best intentions and our intelligence, do we still snap? Why does a single rude comment from a stranger ruin our entire day? To solve this, we must look at the machinery operating beneath the surface of your conscious mind. The root cause is not that you are emotional or weak. The problem is an evolutionary mismatch. Your brain is built for survival, not for the modern boardroom or the dinner table. Deep inside your skull lies the amygdala, an ancient alarm system designed to detect immediate physical threats, a tiger in the bushes, a rival tribesman raising a spear. When this alarm trips, it bypasses your logic center entirely. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It prepares you to fight or flee. In the wild, this saved your life. But in the modern world, your brain cannot distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and a passive-aggressive email from your boss. The biological reaction is identical. Your heart races, your vision tunnels, and your empathy shuts down. You enter a state of emotional hijacking. In this state, you are literally incapable of complex reasoning or long-term strategy. You are reacting to a phantom predator. However, biology is only half the diagnosis. The other half is societal conditioning. From a young age, we are often fed a confusing narrative about emotions. On one hand, we are told to be tough and suppress them, which turns us into ticking time bombs. On the other hand, modern culture tells us that our feelings are the ultimate truth, that if we feel offended, we are victims. If we feel angry, we are justified in lashing out. This is the dangerous trap. We have conflated feeling an emotion with becoming that emotion. When you say, "I am angry," you are making a linguistic and psychological error. You are identifying your entire being with a temporary chemical state. You are claiming the anger as your identity. The truth, the counterintuitive truth that the masters of wisdom have known for centuries, is that emotions are just weather. You are the sky. Clouds pass, storms rage, but the sky is never permanently damaged by the storm. Most people struggle because they try to control emotions by fighting them. They feel the anger rising and they think, "I shouldn't be angry, stop it, stop it." This is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it will shoot up with 10 times the force. This is suppression, not control. True control is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to feel the emotion fully, the heat, the tension, the fear, without acting on it. It is the ability to widen the gap between the trigger and your response. In that gap, there is a choice. Most people don't know this gap exists. They live in a stimulus-response loop. Trigger leads to reaction. Someone insults you, trigger. You insult them back, reaction. A plan fails, trigger. You give up in despair, reaction. They are puppets, and the world holds the strings. Anyone who can make you angry owns you. Anyone who can make you afraid controls you. The diagnosis is clear. You have been conditioned to believe that your emotions require immediate action. You have been trained to extinguish the fire by pouring gasoline on it. To win every situation, you must stop viewing your emotions as commands from a general and start viewing them as suggestions from a panicked child. They are data, not directives. To understand how to master this data, we must look to a man who turned emotional detachment into the highest form of art. A man whose very survival depended on never, ever losing his cool. The power of wisdom. To understand true emotional mastery, we must travel back to the year 1612, to a small, windswept island in Japan called Ganryujima. The figure we hinted at earlier is Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Ronin who undefeated in over 60 life-or-death duels. But his most famous victory wasn't won with steel, it was won with psychology. Musashi was challenged by Sasaki Kojiro, a swordsman of immense fame, known as the Demon of the Western Provinces. Kojiro was technically brilliant, wealthy, and proud. He wielded a specialized, extra-long sword called the drying pole. On paper, he had every advantage. On the day of the duel, Kojiro and the officials waited on the beach. And waited, and waited. The appointed hour passed. Musashi was nowhere to be seen. Kojiro grew impatient. Then, he grew irritated. Finally, he became furious. He felt disrespected. His ego was bruising with every passing minute. "Where is this coward?" he thought. "Does he mock me?" The crowd whispered. The tension on the beach was thick enough to choke on. Musashi, meanwhile, was napping on a boat. He was intentionally late. He knew that Kojiro's greatest weakness was his pride. Musashi wasn't just delaying. He was dismantling his opponent's mind before the fight even began. When Musashi finally arrived, hours late, he looked disheveled. He didn't even have a real sword. He had carved a crude weapon out of a wooden boat or on the ride over. As the boat touched the sand, Kojiro, blind with rage, stormed forward. He drew his magnificent long sword and, in a gesture of utter frustration, threw his scabbard, the sheath, into the sea. He screamed at Musashi for his lateness. Musashi stepped off the boat, calm as a still pond, and smiled. He spoke softly. "You have lost, Kojiro." "What?" Kojiro demanded. "If you have no use for your sheath," Musashi said, "you are already dead." In that second, Kojiro attacked. But his strike was fueled by anger, not precision. Musashi, unburdened by emotion, simply stepped aside and brought his wooden oar down on Kojiro's head. One strike. The duel was over. What happened here? Kojiro lost the fight the moment he threw his sheath into the water. That physical act was a symptom of his internal state. He had narrowed his world down to one outcome, killing Musashi immediately. He was hijacked by his rage. He stopped thinking. Musashi, however, was operating in what he called the void. In his masterpiece, The Book of Five Rings, Musashi teaches that the way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of death, which paradoxically leads to a state of total calm. The void is not empty space. It is a mind uncluttered by the noise of the ego. It is a mind that does not stop at, I am angry, or I am scared. It flows like water. Musashi realized that to control the situation, he first had to control the emotional atmosphere. He made Kojiro dance to his rhythm. This is the shift you must make. In your life, you are constantly facing Kojiros, rude co-workers, traffic jams, financial stresses, unexpected failures. They are trying to provoke you. They want you to throw away your scabbard. They want you to react. When you react, you are playing their game. When you pause, detach, and observe, you are bringing them into your game. You are moving from the chaotic mind of the animal to the strategic mind of the void. You do not need to be a samurai to use this. You just need a protocol to access that stillness when the world is screaming at you to panic. The action plan. Musashi didn't win on Ganryujima because he was lucky. He won because he had a protocol for his mind. He trained his spirit just as rigorously as he trained with his sword. You do not need to retreat to a cave or carry a wooden or to achieve this. You simply need to apply the following 3-step emotional sovereignty protocol. This is your battle plan for the modern world. Step 1. The mindset shift. Activate the kan-I. In his writings, Musashi distinguished between 2 types of sight, ken and kan. Ken is observation with the physical eyes, seeing surface movement. Kan is observation with the mind's eye, seeing the essence of things. When you get angry at a rude driver or a dismissive partner, you are using the kan-I. You are seeing the surface action. They cut me off or they ignored me. This surface view triggers your ego and demands a reaction. To win, you must shift to Kansas. You must look through the action to the essence. When someone attacks you verbally, the kan-I does not see a threat. It sees a person in pain. It sees someone who is insecure, stressed, or battling their own demons. When you shift your perspective from, this person is attacking me, to this person is suffering and has lost control, the insult loses its power. You cannot be offended by a thunderstorm, you simply accept it as nature. Action. The next time you feel triggered, ask yourself one question: what is the hidden pain behind this person's behavior? This single question moves you from victim to observer. Step 2. The practical habit, the 4-second label. Now let's deal with the biology. When that emotional alarm bell rings in your amygdala, you have a physiological window of about 90 seconds before the chemical surge burns out, if you don't feed it with thoughts. But the most critical moment is the first 4 seconds. We are going to use a technique called affect labeling, which is backed by modern neuroscience but rooted in ancient wisdom. When an emotion hits you, fear, rage, jealousy, your brain goes offline. To bring it back online, you must name the demon. Action. When the feeling strikes, physically stop. Take one deep breath. Then, say to yourself, silently or out loud, I am experiencing a sensation of anger. Notice the phrasing. Do not say, I am angry. That makes the anger who you are. Say, I am experiencing anger. This creates a gap between you and the feeling. It acknowledges the emotion without endorsing it. By labeling it, you move activity from the emotional center of your brain to the prefrontal cortex, the logic center. You literally think the feeling to death. You regain the steering wheel. Step 3. Long-term mastery, premeditated resilience. Musashi did not show up to the duel hoping he wouldn't be afraid. He visualized every possible outcome beforehand. He made peace with the worst-case scenario so that when it happened, it was just business as usual. In the modern world, we are fragile because we expect everything to go smoothly. We expect traffic to be fast, people to be polite, and plans to work. When they don't, we shatter. You must build premeditated resilience. This is the practice of negative visualization. Action. Every morning, before you check your phone or start your work, take 2 minutes to anticipate the friction of the day. Tell yourself, today I may meet ungrateful, arrogant, or deceitful people. I may face technical failures. I may face delays. Visualize yourself facing these annoyances not with anger, but with the cool, detached grace of a master. See yourself smiling when the coffee spills. See yourself remaining silent when the coworker interrupts. By mentally rehearsing your calm response, you are programming your nervous system. When the stress eventually happens, your brain recognizes it. It thinks, I have been here before. I know what to do. You are not shocked. You are prepared. This is how you win. Not by fighting the world, but by preparing your inner fortress so that nothing the world throws at you can breach your walls. We began this journey with Miyamoto Musashi, waiting on a boat, carving a wooden, or while his opponent consumed himself with rage. Musashi taught us that the person who controls the emotional tempo of the room controls the outcome. But more importantly, he taught us that the only true enemy lives within our own chest. Remember, every time you feel that heat rising, whether it is in traffic, in a high-stakes meeting, or during a difficult conversation with a loved one, you are standing at a crossroad. One path leads to the old you, reactive, fragile, and easily manipulated by the world around you. This path feels natural, but it is a trap. It hands your power over to others. The other path leads to the new you, observant, detached, and unconquerable. This path requires the discipline of the warrior. It requires you to use the I to see the suffering behind the insult. It requires you to use the 4-second pause to cool the biological fire. It requires you to realize that you are the sky, not the passing storm. Winning every situation does not mean you always get what you want. It does not mean you force the world to bend to your will. It means you never lose who you are. It means that no matter how chaotic the noise becomes, you remain the captain of your ship. When you possess this kind of self-control, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become a pillar of strength that others lean on. This is not a transformation that happens overnight. It is a practice. It is a daily decision to choose wisdom over impulse. But it is the most rewarding battle you will ever fight. From all of us here at Timeless Wisdom Official, thank you deeply for giving us your time today. We do not take your attention for granted. If this video helped you find a moment of clarity, please help us spread this message to others who are seeking strength. Click the like button, share this video with someone who needs inner peace, and subscribe to join our growing community of deep thinkers. We want to hear your voice. Which part of the protocol resonated with you the most? Or do you have your own personal method for keeping calm under pressure? Please leave a comment below sharing your key takeaway or lesson. We read them, and we learn from you. Until next time, stay wise, stay calm, and win the battle within.